So hello everyone, welcome back to Zora's Calm. I'm Ann, your host. I just wanted to come in and share with you how I learned how to make my continuous prairie points. And you can let me know how I'm doing in the comments. But first of all, I went and chose two different fabric colors, a light and dark. This is some black and some blue fabric. And I measured the circumference of my quilt, and I'm adding 5 inches to that. And I want my prairie points to be 3 inches wide. So what I'm going to do is add a 1/4 inch to that. So I'm cutting them 3 1/4 inch wide. If you want yours to be 4 inches wide, you're going to cut them 4 1/4. And I'm going to do the same with the dark colored fabric that I have. I cut out 2 panels of each colored fabric, which are 3 1/4 inch by the width of the fabric. And now I'm just going to take it to my sewing machine, and I want to sew the 2 black pieces together. I'm going to use a diagonal seam. This helps to keep the bulk down and the seam allowances right in there. I'm going to do the same to the blue fabric. Once I get that together and get it cut up and squared and tapered down, I'm going to sew them both together. I'm in a Prairie Point phase right now. This will be the 4th quilt that I'm adding Prairie Points to. And from what I understand, Prairie Points have been around for a very long time. And I'm just beginning to like them. I've seen them many times before, but for some reason now that they are becoming a part of my projects. So now I want to measure this. I should have 6 inches that they measure. And you want to make sure that you're getting that measurement, because I did this before and I didn't get a good measurement, so you want to make sure everything is measuring out. Now you're going to pick one fabric and you're going to start marking 3 inch intervals, or you're going to mark it the size of your prairie points that you have decided to make. Mine will be 3 inches, so I'm going to mark 3 inch intervals, starting with one color only. This is a very important step. You're going to do one of the colors first, and then you'll do the second color. You're just going to mark with your ink pen. Now we're going to mark the dark colored one. Before we do that, we come in 2.5 inches in, and this part we are going to cut off. And then we will continue to mark 3 inch segments out of this fabric. Please do not mark with a chalk unless you have a chalk pencil. This chalk, I was not able to get close to the ruler, so every little segment of missed correct measurement, it will cause you to lose your measurement, won't come out right. So that 3.5 inch mark will be half of your 3 inch marking, that 2.5 inch mark. So now I'm going to go on with my blue colored fabric, and I'm going to mark in 3 inch segments. And then I'm going to do that with the black. I put some tape here at the 2.5 inch mark. This helps me to know that my measurements are right. I have the camera right in front of me, so I'm reaching around the camera and trying to mark and put this down, you know. How is everyone doing today? I don't know if I've said this before, but how are you doing? How are the children? How are the husbands and the boyfriends and the significant others, the grandchildren, the cat, the dog, the turtle, your car, your house, your mind. I hope everyone is doing well. So now, once you cut out those sections there, you're going to go ahead and cut on the line where you marked. And I'll just speed this up so we can get through it. And I'm going to turn it over and cut out that section, and then continue to cut my 3-inch segments out of the black fabric. Now it's time to start to fold your fabric. I'm folding them into a triangle. I'm folding them toward the left. You can fold them toward the left or the right. It doesn't matter, but try to stay consistent for whichever one you start with. And you should have a triangle. If you don't have a triangle, you may need to clip up a little bit higher. If that doesn't work, then you may be off on your measurements. And I know that because I had a very experience with that happening. So you may want to practice, do a little segment and practice these if you want to make sure and not waste all of your good fabric. Always practice on a fabric that you don't care about. Never start anything. If you're just learning something new, you always want to try it on a scrap of material that you don't really care about. Now, did you see that? I switched directions. So it doesn't really matter which direction you go. It's just that you're going to fold these down, and they're all going to come into the place of where they're supposed to be. And now I'm going to go on and fold them down one more time. We're going to get that other raw edge folded down. I'm using some liquid pins, better known as Elmer's glue, that I love so much. That's another thing that's been around for a long time, Elmer's glue. And now we've found so many different uses for it. I use my Elmer's glue to baste my quilt. I really only have sewn 3 large quilts. You know, most of the time I do the quilt as you go, which I love so much. But I baste it down with the Elmer's glue here. Now this top of glue, I cut the top open too much, so it just pours out. And the good thing about the glue, it washes out, it's non-toxic. It's something wonderful for you to have. I did baste a quilt, one of my first quilts that I basted, and I used the basting spray, and to this day the basting spray is still in there. And I have washed it and soaked it and everything. So I don't know what's up with that. I'm not going to tell you the brand, but I just say that, you know, Elmer's glue is good. It's good to you. Maybe that could be a new commercial. It comes out in the wash. It's non-toxic. Look how good it's holding everything down. So you're going to go ahead and finish ironing these down and tacking them down with our liquid pins, and then we're almost halfway through. This is the back, and now this is how the front of it is looking. You can use this as another design element in your quilt somehow. but I want to make Prairie Points. So I'm going to turn it back over, and I'm going to begin to iron down these little points here. Just a little glue right there. That's all you need. It's right there. But you're not going to listen. You're going to go wild with this glue. You just need a little dot here and there. You just need a little dot. And I'm folding it. I'm folding this on the seam. Right there at the seam there. Right there. And just to know, this is somewhat of a moderate amount of bulk that you're adding to your quilt. You can see it's folded over, right? And so you have this that's going in the binding. So I would even think you want to go in, I would not say 1/4 of an inch, I would say 1/2 an inch. So you may want to make your Prairie Points a little bit bigger. Now on the last video, I think the last video I made 3-inch. I think they were 4-inch individual Prairie Points that I made. So these are a little bit smaller. And I even made some that there were 2 colors and 2 sizes, but those were individual. I would not know how to add a 2 color and 2 sizes Prairie Point. I'm sure there's a video out there, but I did not learn that yet. But I'm sure you can make a 2 color, 2 size Prairie Point to put here. I mean, you can even add a 3 Prairie Points in at a time. It's just up to your imagination. I'm just going to fold this down, guys, and we are really done. We're done with this. You can see the blue Prairie Points are dominant once I fold it down, and the black just peeks out. Or you can turn it around and have the black be dominant and the white and the blue and white peek out. And there you go. You have the Prairie Points. They're nice and ready to go. These Prairie Points hopefully will be going into another UFO, unfinished object. As I was searching for the fabric for this, I found another UFO that I think I could fix and finish really quickly. So I said, well, I can make a video on this, and I'll be making the Prairie Points for that quilt. But just how I made this here, that's how I made the one that you'll see in the video that's coming right now. I made it's a gray grunge and a brown plaid t-shirting fabric that I use for the Prairie Points. And here you see it here, right here. I love it. It really helps the quilt to have some attitude. Yep. This quilt is a crumb quilt. Back in the time, I think it's been a while now, when the crumb quilt phase was going on, I made this crumb quilt. And I made part 1, but I never came about with part 2. Life happened and I just didn't get it done, and hopefully you'll see it pretty soon. Like I said, I've only really quilted 3 quilts in my life. Most of the time I've only done quilt as you go. And this is another quilt as you go. You can say this is a whip, a work in progress. You can say an unfinished object, but it's done, it's finished, and I'm so happy. So enjoy the rest of the video. Oh yeah, before I go, I went up to my local creek here in the California, and I sat out along the creek. I brought a chair and a lunch and a nice book to read and my quilt, and I sat out there for hours and took some pictures and just watched the snow melt. It was very cold. It was fun. So I'm gonna say bye-bye for now, guys, and thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. Bye.